So, yeah, the 3-6 matchup, Celtics Philly. Ben Simmons is out. Joel's been hurt the last week with multiple injuries. He missed a game with an ankle injury. Then he left the game with a hand injury.
Yeah.
I don't know how this is going to be a series. Maybe Philly gets a game or two, but I think if the Celtics
on paper, you got to like
one, if they can't win this one, it's a major, major disappointment.
Oh, without Simmons? Oh my God, no! That as soon as he went out, you said, "Come on, they got this." There's no excuse. Not that there ever was an excuse, but it's positively no excuse now for them not to win. And they are starting to play some good basketball. So I don't know how depth is still an issue now with this group. Scoring off the bench, we talk about it every week. That they don't have that instant offense guy off the bench. They don't have that kind of guy. They have nobody even remotely like that. There was a moment in the exhibition season of 2018-19 when we thought that guy might be Carson Edwards because he had 8 threes in the game.
That guy might be Carson Edwards.
I wanted that guy to be Carson Edwards. Whenever I did where I said 8 threes is a bit much, but there's something artificial maybe there. But of course that hasn't materialized. Okay, so no, it's not Carson Edwards. No.
What I do want to do, and I haven't. I don't think I've done it yet this year. You remind me if I have, but I want to admit I made a mistake on Jaylen Brown because I was very, very reluctant to give him max money if I was Danny Ainge. And I know he had to. I know you kind of have no choice at that point. And I love Jaylen Brown's toughness, his defensive intensity. But I just didn't think Jaylen Brown would be a guy that has improved as much as he has on the offensive end, especially in the half court. I knew he's great in transition.
Sure.
Thrives in transition. He's going to get his points that way. But I think he's gotten better in his decision-making this year in the half court.
Hey, you wouldn't have projected him as the kind of guy who'd go 6 for 6 in the fourth quarter of a big game, which he did, and make killer threes. No, he wasn't projected to be that kind of a guy, or my God forbid that he'd be scoring 20 points a game this late in the season. So no, you're right. My reservation in the beginning, I mean, I can't say I saw him at Cal. Maybe I did see once on some Saturday afternoon one, but I didn't see him. But was aware of him. Was he going to want to play basketball or run for Congress? That's what I worried about. And it's turned out that he can balance his life. Turns out that he has become a terrific basketball player. And oh boy, is he upfront about him using his forum in a responsible, intelligent way. He may be a congressman someday. He may be, I don't know what he's going to be someday, but its future is outside of basketball. I don't think there's much question about that when it's all done. Would you agree to that?
No question. Very bright, very smart. Always has been from the first time I met him. I remember the first time I think I saw him was at an AAU event in Vegas and talked to him then. And he had no interest in talking to the media. He still really doesn't love it. You could tell. That's not him. He does it respectfully. And those are fun. Russell Westbrook's similar, right? He'll talk to you. But Russell Westbrook doesn't want to be talking to the media. He does it because he has to. And for the most part, he's pretty respectful. I think Jaylen's similar in that.
Well, Jaylen, you're aware probably after one of the games in the bubble, he did not take any questions. He delivered a sermon. This is what he did. Yep. So yes, he was very, so, he is his own man without any question.
I feel like, the crazy part of this, Bob, now is the ultimate after Gordon Hayward got hurt and came back was if Gordon Hayward can be your fourth best player, you have a chance to win a title. Okay? He has. Yeah. Now your fourth best player on this team, but they don't have a chance to win a title yet. And is that because the Lakers and Clippers are so good and they have the elite stars, or is it because the Celtics haven't taken that next jump and maybe Kemba's not quite Kemba and they don't have the bench? They're still missing, a piece on the front court and one piece off the bench.
In my ideal scenario, that bench thing is crucial, and they don't have that. So, they can't afford – they can't change games in that way. I worry about foul trouble, in a sense with these guys. So I question the bench. I think there's a limit to what they can achieve, but I think right now it's constituted. But they got people, one thing they do have, I've always struggled with this ever since this has become a big deal in the last, couple of decades. Because when I grew up, nobody talked about this kind of stuff. The go-to guy and who's going to take the shot. And it's got to be only certain people. Well, they've got a team now with three guys. They got lots of people you can go to. Now, the other day, Tatum took over, but Kemba's a classic. Tatum's become a classic because at 6'10", he has the dexterity. He has the handle to get his own shot when he needs it. Create space. A la. Dare I say, I won't even mention it, a la the shorter guys who can do that. He's 6'10". And, of course, Kevin Durant, who's the gold standard of that in our time, who can do that. But he has a little bit of that in him now to be able to create that.
Yeah, he can get his shot whenever he wants. Now, again, and he's gotten better at driving the basket and finishing through. And really wanting contact, like embracing contact. Because early in the year, I remember talking to him several times early in the season, and he just was shying away from that contact and not finishing for the first, 10 games of the season. All right, so who are you taking right now? If I said to you, who are you keeping as your second unit going forward if you're Danny Ainge, okay? I'm going to run through some names. We agree on Marcus Smart, obviously. They have him. He's a keeper for sure. We're not even going to waste our time on him. Are you in agreement Daniel Tice would be a hell of a backup 5-man? Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He can play game. He can play basketball. He can play. I mean, I like him a lot.
Like as your starter, you can get away with him if I
guess it's a matchup thing again. The guy's 6'8". That's serious. He's 6'8". He's hard. Neil Johnson was 6'8" 60 years ago. He's 16. He's 6'8". I mean, there is a limit, but he can shoot. He knows how to play. All right, yeah, okay. But he's on your rotation. Yes,
he's a keeper. Probably you love him as your first big off the bench, ideally, but whatever. He's a keeper. So those two are keepers. Enes Kanter, keeper or cut him loose.
The problem, I want to like him a lot. Because I want him around. I want him for the post game.
He's a great
pregame. I want him. All right. Well, how deep do we have to go here? Are we talking to cut this off at 10?
Well, he's your second unit.
All right.
Right now, because
now we got Smart, we got Tice. Well, wait a minute. Well, Tice is starting at the present moment, right?
Right now.
We got So we got Williams and we got Kanter and we got Wanamaker is definitely.
You're good. When he was your backup point guard, you're good with Brad Wanamaker. You're fine.
Yes, and then Langford, Romeo
Langford. You're keeping him.
Yeah. Yes. He's shown me enough. I'm sorry. Grant Williams. I'm sorry. I forgot about Grant
Williams for me.
I got to go with Grant Williams. He's had more opportunity to show me what he can do. Langford, maybe down the road, but there's 10. So there's my 10. Grant Williams.
For me, I'm a keeper, obviously, with the starting 5-year keeper. Smart is a keeper. Wanamaker, I'm with you. I love him. I love him as a backup, and you gotta go cheap. You got to go cheap with that for sure. Grant Williams, I'm a keeper. So that's 8 for me. Robert Williams, I'm a keeper as an X factor guy. I don't know what he is. So then you got 2 spots for me. Kanter and a scoring guard off the bench. I would let Kanter walk. I just defensively, he's a mess. I know he can score the ball. I know he can rebound on the offensive end. I love his personality. I thought he'd come in and be the starting center, to be honest. And if he can't beat out Tice, and I remember Brad when they signed him at the introductory press conference, we were talking off to the side, and I said, like, how are you going to play him? It's all about defense for you, Brett. He said, well, he was actually really good in the playoffs defensively this past year. And I looked at him. I'm like, yeah, but like the body of work, he's been so bad defensively for so long. Nobody's going to change at that point in their career. So I would get in a more well-rounded big if you could. But again, you don't have a lot of money for that. So I would say you got to prioritize. You better get a guard off the bench who can go get you buckets.
Yeah.
Period. I don't know who it is. And I don't think it's Romeo Langford. Like, I think Romeo might be, in 3-4 years could be that guy. But I'm not sure he's that guy either. So I think they got to find that guy maybe in the draft this year, maybe through a trade, trading, a pick or something and getting a veteran. But I think that's their biggest hole because everything else, let's face it, Tatum's only going to get better. Jaylen Brown's only going to get better. Can Kemba sustain it at this point? Can he get back to what he was when he was 100%? And then Hayward, same thing. Just sustain where you are right now next year. And you have a chance next year because everybody else, LeBron's a year older, right? I mean, LeBron's a year older.
Yeah.
Who knows what happens with the Clippers